The clutter was suffocating me. I didn't even notice when my home turned into a storage unit for things I no longer used. Every corner overflowed with objects, and every drawer was a challenge to open. It felt as though the walls were closing in on me. Do you ever feel that way? As if your home is consuming you instead of welcoming you? I remember the day I had a breakdown searching for my car keys for 40 minutes. I was late for an important meeting, and amidst all the clutter, I couldn't find something so essential. That's when I realized I wasn't in control of my belongings. They were in control of me. Today I'm going to share how I completely transformed my home and my life through minimalism. The change was so profound that friends ask if I hired a professional decorator, when in reality, I just eliminated what no longer served me. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal the 7 principles that turned my chaotic home into a sanctuary of peace and functionality. These are simple practices, but they will revolutionize your relationship with your space and your belongings. The third principle, in particular, completely changed my morning routine. I started this journey when I realized I spent nearly 2 hours a day looking for things in my own house. 2 hours! Think about what you could do with that extra time every day. That's the promise of minimalism I discovered. Not just a prettier home, but a freer life. The first principle that changed my relationship with space was understanding that each object comes with an invisible cost. When I bought that air fryer that I only used 3 times, I didn't just pay the price on the tag. I paid in space in my kitchen, in time to clean and store it, and in mental energy to remember that it existed. Each item in our home requires maintenance, attention, and space, 3 resources that are too precious to waste. I started by observing my morning routine. How many clothes was I really using from my overflowing wardrobe? The answer was shocking, only 20%. The rest were pieces I kept out of emotional attachment, maybe someday, or simply because I had forgotten they were there. So I conducted an experiment. I set aside only the pieces I truly loved and wore often, and stored everything else in boxes. Do you know what happened? Nothing. I didn't miss any of those pieces. My mornings became more fluid, free from the paralysis of choice in front of a cluttered wardrobe, and the most surprising part, I started to feel prettier and more confident because I was wearing only clothes that truly flattered my body and matched my current style. The second principle I learned was about creating spaces to breathe. In my old house, every surface was cluttered. Shelves piled to the ceiling, tables covered in stuff, walls full of pictures. There was no place for the eyes to rest. I tried completely emptying one shelf. Just that. At first, I felt an almost physical urgency to fill it again. It was as if that empty space was screaming to be occupied. I resisted the impulse, and over time, that little breathing space became my favorite corner in the house, a place where my eyes and mind could relax. Gradually, I created more of these breathing spaces throughout the house. A coffee table with just a plant vase. A wall with a single meaningful picture instead of a confusing gallery. A nightstand with just one book and a lamp. Each of these empty spaces became a small visual oasis, reminding me that not everything needs to be full to have value. The third principle was revolutionary, the rule of 1 in, 1 out. Before bringing any new item into the house, another similar object had to leave. A new book. Another one had to be donated. A new blouse. An old one needed to find a new home. This simple rule prevented my house from falling back into chaos and made me think twice before each purchase. I remember seeing a beautiful lamp in a store. In the past, I would have bought it on a whim. Now I paused to think, which current lamp would I be willing to donate to have this one? The answer was none. I genuinely liked the ones I already had. I left the store empty-handed but with a sense of richness, knowing that every item in my home had been chosen with intention. The fourth principle that transformed my house was creating zones with clear purposes. Each space now had a defined function, without confusing overlaps. The dining room table became exclusively a place for meals, not a catch-all for mail, keys, and random items. The kitchen counter became solely for food preparation, not for storing rarely used appliances. This clarity of purpose brought incredible tranquility. When each space has a defined function, we no longer need to constantly decide where to put things. The decisions have already been made in advance, freeing our minds for more important matters. My kitchen underwent the most impactful transformation. Previously, it had drawers packed with utensils I used once a year. cabinets overflowing with pots and pans for special occasions, and a collection of spices that had expired years ago. I reduced everything to the essentials, and discovered that the essentials were far fewer than I had imagined. Now I cook more with fewer tools. Simplicity allows me to find everything quickly and clean up in minutes. Without the barrier of clutter, cooking has become a pleasure, not a battle against chaos. It's amazing how little we need to do so much. The fifth principle was understanding that organization is not a solution for excess. For years, I believed that my problem was a lack of organization. I bought storage boxes, shelves, and drawer dividers, always searching for the perfect solution to store more things. It never worked for long because the real issue wasn't how to organize, but rather how much I had to organize. When I reduced the number of possessions, organization became almost automatic. We don't need complicated systems when we have only the essentials. A drawer with 5 neatly folded t-shirts never gets disorganized like one with 30 cramped items. I remember a friend who was amazed when she opened my cleaning supply cabinet. "Where's the rest?" she asked. I showed her the 5 basic products I use for the entire house. She couldn't believe it was possible to keep everything clean with so little, accustomed as she was to her own cabinet, overflowing with products specific to each surface. The truth is that simplicity works better in most cases. The sixth principle that transformed my home was creating rituals instead of accumulating things. I realized that I often bought items seeking a feeling or an experience. The special mug for breakfast, the scented candle to relax, the soft blanket for reading moments. But what I really wanted was not the objects. It was the moments. I started creating small, daily rituals that didn't involve purchases. A moment of silence in the morning with a cup of tea, using the same simple cup I already had. Time to read before bed, without needing another decorative pillow on the bed. An evening walk to mark the end of the workday, without the need for special equipment. These rituals brought much more satisfaction than any object could provide, because they focused on the experience, not on possession. And the best part, they didn't take up physical space in my home, just valuable space in my day. The seventh principle, and perhaps the most profound, was understanding that my home wasn't a museum of who I was, but a reflection of who I am now. I held on to items from past phases of my life, college textbooks I would never refer to again, clothes from when I had a different style, gifts that didn't match me but I kept out of obligation, mementos of relationships that no longer existed. Each of these items carried an energy from the past, like anchors holding me back to previous versions of myself. By letting go of these objects, I wasn't erasing my past. I was honoring my present and making space for my future. It was difficult at first. Each object seemed to scream, "But what if you need me someday?" or "Remember that special moment I represent." I learned to thank each item for what it represented in my life, photograph some to preserve the memory without the physical bulk, and then let them go to places where they would be truly useful and appreciated. Now when I look around my home, I see only objects that reflect who I am today and support the life I want to lead now. It's a feeling of authenticity that I never experienced when I lived surrounded by layers of my past. The transformation of my kitchen started with a simple question: what do I really use for cooking on a daily basis? I set aside utensils for 7 days, putting back in the cabinet only what I actually used. It was shocking to see how much space was taken up by unnecessary items. I reduced from 5 spatulas to 2, from 10 bowls to 4, and from pots that I barely used to just the essentials. The result was a kitchen where I can find everything in seconds. I open any drawer and see exactly what I need without having to dig through rarely used items. This completely transformed my relationship with home cooking. Now I cook more often because the process has become simple from start to finish. In the bathroom, the change was equally liberating. I had a collection of beauty products that I used rarely, face masks I forgot existed, creams with miraculous promises that I tried only a few times, impulse-bought makeup that didn't match my skin tone, all of it taking up space, requiring cleaning and often expiring before I could use it. I narrowed down to products that truly made a difference in my routine. I found that my skin improved with a simple and consistent routine of a few products, rather than with 10 random options used sporadically. My makeup now fits into a small pouch, with only colors that truly enhance my face. Now my bathroom feels like a little spa, spacious, clean, with each item chosen intentionally. The feeling of starting and ending my day in such a tranquil environment is priceless. The bedroom may have been the space that most impacted my quality of life. It used to be a dumping ground for everything I didn't know where to store. Workout clothes mixed in with important documents, books piled on the floor, a chair that served only as an improvised coat rack. I transformed it into a true sanctuary for rest. I removed everything that wasn't related to the main purpose of the space, to sleep well and prepare for the day. The walls are almost empty, with only one piece of art that brings me peace. The bedside table has just one current book, a small vase with fresh flowers and a bottle of water. The result was immediate in the quality of my sleep. Without the constant visual chaos, my mind can truly relax at the end of the day. I wake up more rested and with mental clarity, without the first sensation of the day being visual overload. In the office, the transformation was essential for my productivity. I used to work surrounded by distractions, piles of papers to organize later, unfinished projects in plain sight, and abandoned hobby materials taking up space. Each item competed for my attention, dividing my focus during hours of work. I completely cleared the space and reintroduced only the essentials for my current function: a clean desk with just my computer, a notebook, and a pen. Digitized files replaced the piles of paper. The shelves, once cluttered, now display only a few reference books and a plant that brings life to the environment. My productivity skyrocketed. Without the constant visual noise, I can enter a state of deep concentration much more quickly. Ideas flow better in a space that breathes, and I finish the workday without the mental exhaustion that the clutter used to cause. The living room has stopped being a decor showcase and has become a real gathering space. Previously, it had too many cushions that needed constant rearranging, tables cluttered with decorative objects that collected dust, and a bookshelf overflowing with items no one paid attention to anymore. I drastically simplified things: a comfortable sofa with just 2 functional cushions, a side table with enough space for a cup of tea, a shelf holding a few books that I actually reread, and some plants that bring life into the room. The rug I chose is pretty enough that I don't need other elements competing for attention. The most surprising result has been how much social interactions have improved in this space. With fewer visual distractions, conversations have become deeper. Friends comment on how at ease they feel, how the energy flows better. Cleaning up has become so simple that having last-minute visitors is never a problem. One area that many neglect is the entryway, and it has been one of the most impactful transformations in my routine. Previously, it was a cluttered spot. Keys lost among papers, shoes scattered everywhere, forgotten mail, coats piled on the only chair available. I created a minimalist system for this space: a small hook for the keys, and only the keys, a tiny basket for mail that is emptied daily, a simple bench for putting on and taking off shoes, and a coat rack with space for only the current season's jackets. This organization has completely eliminated the stress of rushed departures. I never waste time searching for keys or important documents anymore. The feeling of order when entering the home immediately sets a tone of tranquility that spreads to the other areas. My storage areas underwent the most radical transformation. Cabinets, pantry, and garage were true black holes, where things disappeared for years. Items just in case I might need them one day. Seasonal decorations used for just a few weeks each year. Abandoned hobby equipment. Gifts I didn't like but kept out of guilt. I completely emptied every storage space, a process that took weeks. Each item had to justify its place in my current life. It was shocking to realize how much I accumulated out of fear of future scarcity or attachment to the past. Today, my storage spaces are surprisingly empty. I have exactly what I need to live comfortably, nothing more. I can find anything within seconds, and this clarity has brought me a sense of abundance that I've never experienced when I had more. What surprised me most on this journey was discovering that minimalism isn't just about having less, but about making room for more of what truly matters. More time with the people I love, instead of cleaning and organizing things. More attention to meaningful experiences, instead of managing possessions. More energy for projects that matter to me, rather than searching for lost items. My home now reflects my current priorities, not the impulsive purchases of the past. Every object has a clear purpose, or brings me genuine joy. No longer just taking up space out of habit or neglect. The deepest change has occurred in my relationship with new acquisitions. Now, before bringing any item home, I ask myself a few questions. Does this solve a real problem I have? Will it add value to my daily life? Do I have a specific place to store it? Am I willing to care for it for as long as it lasts? These simple questions have nearly eliminated impulse buying, saving money, and, more importantly, preserving the harmony I've created at home. I've learned that saying no to more possessions means saying yes to more freedom. When friends ask how I manage to transform my home, many expect to hear about complex organization techniques or large investments in custom furniture. They are surprised when I say the secret was removing, not adding. The real transformation isn't about finding smarter ways to store more things, but having the courage to live with less. The practice I most recommend for anyone looking to start this journey is simple. Choose a small space, a drawer, a shelf, a corner of the table, and empty it completely. Then only reintroduce what truly serves the purpose of that space. Try living with this little oasis of clarity for a few weeks. Notice how you feel when you interact with this space and how your mind responds to the simplicity. This little experiment was how I planted the seed of change in my own life. From one space, I moved to another, then another. The feeling of lightness was so addictive that I naturally wanted to expand it throughout the entire house. The hardest challenge was dealing with sentimental items, gifts, heirlooms, memories of special moments. I learned that we do not need to hold on to the physical object to preserve the memory or honor the relationship. For many sentimental items, a photograph keeps the memory alive without taking up physical space. For others, writing about their significance in a journal before passing them on was liberating. Some family heirlooms were passed on to relatives who would truly use and appreciate them, rather than being hidden away in boxes in my home. I discovered that the true way to honor our loved ones is to live fully, not to cling to their belongings. Another challenge was resisting societal pressure to consume and accumulate. We live in a society that constantly tells us we need more to be happy, to stay in the loop, to be successful. Advertising, social media, and even casual conversations with friends often revolve around new acquisitions. I learned to politely resist that pressure. When someone suggests that I need a new gadget or trendy item, I simply smile and say that I'm happy with what I have right now. At first it was uncomfortable, but over time it became liberating to establish my own criteria for what comes into my life. To my surprise, many friends became curious about my minimalist approach. Some even felt inspired to make similar changes in their own homes after witnessing the positive impact it had on my life. I discovered that minimalism can be contagious in subtle and beautiful ways. An unexpected benefit was the financial impact. I didn't start this journey thinking about saving money. My focus was on creating a more tranquil space. But naturally, when we stop buying on impulse and value what we already have, savings start to happen. I redirected the money that I used to spend on things toward meaningful experiences and important goals. Trips I had always postponed, courses that expanded my horizons, and even being able to work less and have more free time. The financial freedom that came with consuming less opened up possibilities that once seemed distant. Another benefit was environmental. Less consumption means fewer natural resources used, less production, and less waste. My ecological footprint decreased significantly when I stopped participating in the constant cycle of buying, discarding, replacing. Repairing what I already have became preferable to replacing it, and that brings a deep satisfaction that no new purchase could provide. The journey of minimalism has taught me that our home should be a supportive space for the life we want to live, not a storage unit for everything we've been through or for all the things we might want one day. When our physical space aligns with our current priorities, there's a sense of coherence and authenticity that influences all other areas of life. The truth is, we don't need bigger closets, more complex organization systems, or more space. We need fewer things and more intention. The solution is rarely about adding. It's almost always about subtracting. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey of small daily decisions, questioning automatic habits, and resisting the urge to accumulate. Every little step brings more clarity, more breathing room, and a stronger connection to what truly matters. If any part of this journey resonates with you, I invite you to take a small step today. Choose a space in your home that causes discomfort or frustration. Clear it out completely and question the purpose of each item before putting it back. Create a small oasis of intention and notice how that makes you feel. The path to a more peaceful home and a fuller life is not found in the pages of decorating magazines or the latest organization trends. It lies in the courage to question what we really need, in letting go of what no longer serves us, and in the conscious creation of a space that reflects who we are today. The home I've built is not perfect in the eyes of others. It doesn't follow trends, nor does it impress with opulence, but it is perfect for me because it supports the life I want to live without draining my energy, time, or resources. And in the end, that is the only measure that matters. Not how our home appears to others, but how it makes us feel every day as we inhabit it. The freedom I've found in this simplicity is the most valuable treasure I possess, and interestingly, it's the only one that doesn't take up physical space. It's a feeling of lightness, of possibility, of room to breathe and grow. It's the sensation of finally being the owner of my home and my life, not a slave to my possessions. This is the true gift of minimalism, not a design aesthetic, but a path to a more conscious life, where every choice is made with intention and every space supports who we truly are. Please share this blessed video so it can reach and help others like you and me. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of our faith community. If you wish to support our channel a little more, consider becoming a member. Here are 2 more videos for you to continue your journey. Thank you, and may God bless you all. See you soon.